The water was so strong, it pushed the door open itself. And it was about to my shins at that point, my knees almost. I run in and I scream upstairs to my kids. I was like, grab what you need and get out of the house, there's water. I was just screaming.
A McCook Lake mom's blissful weekend with her kids ended in an instant as floodwaters rushed in.
Tonight, KTV's Katie Koppel introduces us to Darcy Spates, who details the terrifying moment she and her kids lived through on June 23rd.
I looked at the time on my phone and it was 7:26 at that point, I believe. So from the time that my kid's friend mom called me at 7:14, which I hung up with her, I believe at like 7:20. It was like 6-7 minutes we were out. We had to be out.
Sunday, June 23rd started out as a beautiful day. Darcy Spates spent the afternoon at home with her kids on Penrose Drive in McCook Lake.
My neighbor's right next door at 8 Penrose. She was outside playing with her kids in the pool, like, you know, just having a beautiful day. It was so nice.
But just after 7, everything changed for this tight-knit, dead-end street.
About a 2 to 3 foot tall wave came in the side door of my garage right at me.
Spates ran inside to get her kids and pets into her van as floodwaters filled her home.
By the time I was in the hallway going to my room, it was to my thighs. I mean, it had been 2 minutes. And thankfully, my 9-year-old son, his 9-year-old twin sister was at a Friends in the Dunes, thankfully. And my 12-year-old had already ran out with just the clothes on their backs, jumped in the van. And we took off, and I mean, we're all just in such shock. Everyone, my kids are crying hysterically.
They made it out of McCook Lake in minutes, but minutes was all it took for floodwaters to take everything they owned.
It was like 6-7 minutes we were out. We had to be out. And it was up to, I mean, here on me, like, and my mom calls and I'm just like, we lost our house, it's gone, it's gone.
The house on Penrose Drive, where her children's best friends lived, where neighbors were family, where her children and so many others felt safe, gone in minutes.
Everything that they knew has been ripped out from them, you know, separated from everything they've known. They don't remember being anywhere else before that.
The trauma of what's been lost in McCook Lake, hard for adults, but for the children.
I mean, that was the hardest part, is seeing these kids have to go through that.
For Spates' children and others in the neighborhood, the nightmare of what they experienced is still very raw.
Everything that they know, just boom, in a moment's notice. They have to literally run for their actual lives. Even when my littles were running out, the water was, you know, up to their chests. You know, they're small. And they're just, you know, shaking and trembling. And it was so sad. Now my 12-year-old is literally having nightmares of floods.
Spates was able to return home days later and saved a few items from each of her children. Their home is collapsing into a sinkhole. The street where the children were riding bikes Sunday afternoon is gone, replaced by a new memory. Spates says no child should ever know.
The trauma that they've had to experience could have been avoided.
Accountability. That is what Spates and several other families are seeking from city officials. Even if the flooding couldn't have been avoided, she says, the traumatic experience of escaping their home in minutes didn't need to happen.
They could have at least prevented trauma in children. You know, it was hard enough, like you said, as us as adults to deal with this. You could have prevented kids from having this trauma. You know, my kids are old enough. They're going to remember this. They'll never forget this the rest of their lives.
In McCook Lake, South Dakota, with Chief Videographer Acacia Phillips, Katie Koppel, KTIV News 4.
Spates says counselors from Dakota Valley have reached out and made themselves available for her children and others as they just try to get through this difficult time.